Hey everybody, my name is Chris Reed, and today we are continuing our tutorial series A to Z in Reason Studios. In this video, we will be covering the Grain Sample Manipulator. Now, I can't exactly tell you what a grain is, but I can definitely show you how you can use this sampler inside of Reason to create some truly unique sounds. Let's jump into Reason right now so we can go ahead and check out the Grain Sample Manipulator. I'm here inside of Reason where I have a file open with a beat that I've created where I've used the Grain Sample Manipulator to create some pretty unique sounds. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to deconstruct one of the sounds that I created in order so you can see just exactly what we started with in order to create this truly unique sound. I've actually used 3 grain sample manipulators inside of this beat. One is a patch which comes pre-installed in Reason, and the other 2 are samples of my voice which I've used to create this unique sound. Let's take a look at the Grain Sample Manipulator. This main window here is the main window that you will be using because this is where your sample will be located. You can move these bars to adjust where you want the sample to end and begin. And also you can move this green flag here, which is a start position of your sample when you press the key. Speed affects how fast the sample is played through or how fast the grains are played through. And jitter, when you add more jitter, it doesn't just play straight through, it bounces back and forth between the sample. So if you have a really long sample, then you can truly affect it, and because the jitter can just go all over the place, and now you just have this totally new sound that's ever evolving, right? It's just continuing to evolve, and it's different every time you play it. You have your grain manipulation is right here. You can affect the length of the grains, and as you affect the length of the grain, it changes the sounds. And it's really something that you can get creative with and experiment with until you get the sound that you truly want. Over here, we have a filter knob where you can apply different kinds of filters. And of course, we know that that changes the sound. If you have a high pass filter, it's going to let in those highs and cut out the lows. Low pass filter is going to let through the lows and cut out the highs. And of course, you can play with the resonance and the filter and the frequency and get a really different sound with that as well. We have our simple amplifier where you can affect the attack, decay, sustain, and release. Now down below is where it gets a little fun. Here's an LFO and envelopes. Envelopes has actually a bunch of presets that they have created. So if you know you want a specific kind of envelope sound that you can use as an LFO or that you can use to manipulate some other parameter inside of the instrument, then you can just choose one of these pre-made presets right here, or you can actually draw it out yourself. You can draw it out and you can make it look however you want it to look. Of course, you can always press Ctrl-Z. If you make a mistake or change it and you don't like the change, you can just change it back. Down below, of course, this is a programming window where we can program in different parameters to be affected by the LFOs or the frequencer knobs or the mod wheel, pitch bend, whatever you can think of, you can pretty much change the sound with there. And you can get really creative and have the sound changing back and forth and just really get deep in with your experimenting and with changing the sound. Now in this window here, we actually have some effects. So you have a chorus effect, a distortion effect, an EQ effect, a delay, a compressor, and a reverb. So inside of the Grain Manipulator, you can have all of these effects going, and then you can also add effects, and then of course you can have send effects, so you can have effects on top of effects on top of effects. So now let's check out the sound that I've created using my voice and tweaking a few parameters. I've added in a distortion, EQ, compressor, and a reverb. My distortion tone is being affected by the LFO, which is inside of this Grain Sample Manipulator. So that's how you're hearing the sound kind of do this wave, is because of that LFO. If I turn that LFO off, it sounds like that. So let's turn that LFO back on. Just a subtle change, but it really helps to change the sound. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you change the grain length. If I change where this green flag is located, then I can change where the sample starts playing when I play a key on the Grain Sample Manipulator. Now I'll let you guys hear what the sample sounds completely dry without the Grain Sample Manipulator at all. Sounds great, doesn't it? Yeah. 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 I have no clue what I was doing or what I was saying. I just literally whatever the first thing came to my mind, I decided to record it, and that's what I used it. But of course, that does not sound at all like what I sang. It's truly taken that vocal sound and created a all new synth, a stab that I can use, and I can use that in my productions moving forward, or I can just leave it for this production. And the next time I go into a production and I'm trying to create a sound, I can simply just use my voice again, create a sample, and right away I can create a whole new sound. But that's not all. If you have loops, if you have musical loops, if you have drum loops, you can load those into the sampler as well. Just for fun, I went ahead and I created a second sound using my voice as well. I'll let you hear what that sounded like here. Again, just having fun, just trying to just create and be creative and just experiment, made that sound, and I was able to turn that. This one wasn't as complex as the first sound. It just basically plays the sound back and forth and adds a little jitter so that we can kind of create this, like, I don't know, helicopter-y sound. The last sound that I'm going to show you is one of the patches which are pre-installed inside of Reason software. So the last Grain Sample Manipulator that I used was this one here, which is the Telecaster Stretch. And that's what the sample sounds like. Kind of reminds me of like Lose Yourself. Doom 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 doom. If you had one shot. All right, so one shot is all it took for that sound. And by stretching it out and by manipulating how it's played, we get this really unique sound. And it's just from that one sample. So of course you can throw in one shots, you can throw in voice, you can record your voice, you can throw in one shots, you can do a bunch of different things and create some really unique sounds. Well, I hope you can see now that with the Grain Sample Manipulator, your imagination is the only thing that holds you back from creating some truly unique sounds inside of Reason Studios. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave it a thumbs up. And if you really liked it, then please share it with others so that they can see it as well. If you're looking for tutorials like this one, please consider subscribing because we will continue our tutorial series in the many weeks to come. Thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.